They're wearing the same jacket.
They are between these kind of.
As it is 5:30 on May 29th, 2025, we'll call this Hermosa Town Board Special Meeting to order. Roll call. Kramer here.
Ferguson, I mean.
You here? Ferguson is here. Okay. Coops.
Here.
Your head over there.
Harris. Harris is here. Service.
Here.
And Terry's here for now. That is all. No other attendees. We are expecting the attorney, the engineer, and I would think some citizens at some point in time. So, call for changes, review the current agenda items. I would entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Okay.
Second.
Aaron, Donna. And are there any changes to it? Terry, do we have
No, not that I
anything?
know of.
Everything turned out good? Good. Okay, all.
Anthony's here. You want me to go out and tell him to come in for the executive session? All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Yeah, he's coming.
Conflict of interest declaration, please, if you have it, notify us, that's fine. And outside of that, our very first, come in, please, yeah, lock it. Thank you.
Oh, Shannon. She's back.
I'm just sweating. So,
He's wearing jackets and I'm over here overheating.
we will, take a motion to go into executive session at 5:32.
I'll make that.
Shall I make this motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Aaron seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
You want to hear a mob out there?
There's a few cars out there. I didn't want to see who's was whose, but
We are live again.
I would,
I'm sorry.
I would entertain a motion to come out of executive session at 6:22.
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second? Motion made and seconded to come out of the executive session at 6:22. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. All right. That brings us to items of business. I'm sorry, folks, that you had to wait a little 20 minutes longer. We do have now some citizens that have joined us. I'd like to thank you for coming. So this brings us to item A on the items of business, which is permit 2024-09 temporary water line Ferguson construction. And the discussion, the issue has been that this is a temporary water line and they're selling these lots. And of course, we have a lot that is sold or near sold, I don't know which, not my business. And we're looking at a building permit for one of these lots. Right at the moment, the water is not to the lots, the water or the sewer is not to the lots. And we are deciding on how this parcel fits into the town. It was platted when the original town was platted, which was a long time ago, which therefore makes it a special situation that does not necessarily fit into our subdivision ordinance. So we know that how we handle this, we will have to handle any other properties that are also in the old town limits now, and we need to do a inventory of those lots so that we can treat them all in the same manner. As of right now, the Fergusons their plan is to start that project on did I hear the 6th or 7th of?
Well, hopefully next week, because I think Todd said the 7th is when you plan on breaking ground. 7th. So,
Hey.
9th. So that at least there's
The show is started. Okay.
here.
So we're on item A, Mr. Krause, compartmentalized. Is there any action we currently need to take for the temporary water line, considering that it was an informational permit? There was never a motion made to approve, deny, or any other such thing, but it was an informational permit. So is there an action we need to put on the table?
Where I was at.
Yeah.
Was it an informational permit or informational application?
Informational permit will be.
Okay. So, I
That's
mean,
what it was, what we have.
and this was.
And it goes with what DENR had approved. Not that he'll replace it.
DNR did approve the engineering report from Benish.
Back in 24.
Yes, to put this in. And so it just has not been put in. Due to, probably a lot due to our own sewer projects and stuff that, that kind of took precedence over other stuff. So, we have the approval, the work just needs to be done. There has been discussion of letters of agreement or
Credit.
bank and whatnot. Whether that's needed or not, Aaron?
So are we looking at an action to this temporary water line? I think we're kind of mixing the temporary water line with the main line extension as if they're combined into one thing, but I think we need to compartmentalize here and address the temporary line and then move into the main extension as an entirely separate.
The temporary line was agreed upon, and said, done and over with.
Okay,
So the
The board
next,
approved that when? No.
the
What
board,
did we determine?
that was, 20.
24?
2024. We approved it, we approved the continuation of the renewed permit on 1/21 of 25. So that permit is good now until 1/21 of 26. So the permit from DNR is valid until that time. Now, builders, the owners of the lot, of course, want it done before that, and the seller of the lot is going to be doing that work. And like I said, the hopes was to start next week. However, Chuck is in the hospital, feeling better now, but you will need to get that done for the owner of the lot, yes.
So, along with what Aaron is saying, in the future, if for some reason somebody needs a temporary water line to their property until something is developed, is that the process to fill out an informational permit and let you know, FYI?
Well, we need more than an FYI, I think. That is what we have now. That is what we have on it, but I believe that in the future, it needs more than an FYI.
Is there something we should require to attach to it, just so it's
I-
on file?
An actual permit for a temporary lot.
Permit, yes.
Yeah, because I've never heard of an informational permit in my 35 years of practice.
Okay. Aaron?
And that is the extension that we're talking about.
Yes. Mhm.
So where's the actual water? What'd you say? Water line permit? We
Permit,
don't, we have a tap permit. We don't have a water
line permit.
line permit. And I
we're,
think that's where a lot of the confusion.
we're still poking around in the whole water ordinance, the entire thing.
Right.
If ever there was a good time to implement such language,
Yes,
we're kind of already there.
exactly.
So,
I think you do a digging permit when
Which we have on file,
you're, yeah.
but there's gotta be more to it. Digging, there's gotta be.
Mhm.
Well, anything
It's job
over,
for 10 years and nothing is coming to mind. Like, how can weird things?
anything over 10 connections in the public water system, so it goes to DNI first. Subdivision ordinance has requirements for preliminary plating and final plating that talk about water and sewer. So we're going back to platted lots and saying that needs to be put into place to make these lots buildable. Because that's what it is, they're not buildable till such time.
Right, but then we're saying it's not a subdivision either, so that's what's
Exactly.
triggering. So this is one of those
It was subdivided years ago.
135 years ago.
And you can tell by the lot, the skinny lots, that was the old way of doing things.
Right.
Outhouse. And now,
I don't have a problem with that. It's the difference of,
Back then, there was no, they didn't have the ordinances. They didn't have subdivision ordinance. There was no ordinances basically for the town.
Yeah.
It was just,
and there's
we're
nothing.
building a town. We have a railroad. We're building a town around the railroad, basically is what happened. And so now we're dealing with that. Go ahead.
For this temporary water line, that was not connected directly to the main, right?
No.
So that's why we don't have an application for the water permit, because there's no tap to the main for that line,
And we need that.
right?
Right.
But that's why there's no permit for it. So he filled out the FYI permit, I guess, in lieu of that application for a water fee or for a water connection because he wasn't going to tap the main.
At that time.
Yeah, at that time.
So really, we need to require by motion that because the selling as is of these lots and getting them serviced, how do you even word that? Because it's not triggered by the subdivision ordinance, there are some things that we are going to have to require just to do our due diligence for, to bring it up to code, basically. And that would be the requirement of or submission of a water line permit that we have yet to develop.
Right.
Or approval of at least the approval of the water and sewer plans. Let's say it's not a permit, but
Which DNR approved.
which is this extension project, right, that we have here?
Yes. That Benish,
So is this need to be put on our agenda to approve separately? So it's noted that we have
yeah,
reviewed
I
it
would
and
say
approved
so,
it,
yes.
right? And then that is what we would require, either a bond or letter, letter of credit from the bank or something to that effect that would back that it's being completed.
Right. I would agree.
Okay.
Yeah, you, yeah,
I put my ducks in.
yeah.
From previous. Here.
One of you guys had your hand up, I didn't see which one. Aaron,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, if we're going back to what the Benish's plan, the plan, we did approve those January for the extension. That's all approved. It's
That was approved.
all approved in January.
We
I
approved the
made a
digging
motion.
and grading permit. Was there a specific motion to accept the ENR's letter and submitted plans?
That was included in the packet in the permit. Right?
The approval came from DANR via the letter, not through the board yet.
Can't find on my packet that said Whitney Street Extension Project. Engineer, there it is.
You got the full packet? I don't have that. Right, right there. So that was approved
By the board.
by the board.
Okay.
By DNR.
Right, yeah.
ENR and forward in January.
No, I don't, but I don't see it in there, in the minutes. Doesn't say. Motion by Service and seconded by Coons to approve 2024-48 digging grading right-of-way permit, the Whitney Street main extension. The 3 ayes, 1 abstain, motion carried. It's approving, and then Service, motion by Service, seconded by Ferguson to approve the digging permit. Parcel trenching line here, and that was
So that's like
Motion
an
carried,
all
too.
inclusive.
all inclusive.
I mean, it's doing a permit dash Whitney Street water main extension.
So it's been approved and now the board just needs to be completed.
What's the timeline of getting completed?
Well, we didn't give them one and they did not give it. They just knew that in order for them to sell the lots, they have to get that done. So that they're the owners of that.
All due respect, they are selling lots and it's not.
Right. But it has to be, for now, the one temporary permit was issued. There will be no other temporary permits issued. Now the line needs to be completed so that they can have
Correct.
the real thing done.
I guess I would like to see us go ahead and file, what was that called, something with the title?
Ancillary document, it gives notice publicly to anybody interested in buying
any one of the lots,
Mhm.
that, those lots do not have utilities, city
As of
utilities to them.
right.
And then you've done your duty, giving public notice in the most formal way. Put people on notice that they're, buying something that isn't endorsed or rated for by the city.
That's it.
It's in their paperwork that when they purchased the land. And hopefully that would never come into play. It's just something that as a town, because this is a different situation, that we're trying to straighten out, make a process for that maybe we should go ahead and do.
And I think that might be one of the things we do moving forward here for all other empty lots that are platted, that don't have utilities. They should be red flagged, and when, when the title company looks them up, everybody knows, we did our job. We're saying, okay, you looked at your title work, you saw there was no utilities, that's your responsibility. So that gets us by and
The
large
inventory.
off the hook.
Okay. Eric?
Oh, I mean, I didn't have my hair, but so we don't actually have any action to take on item A. The only actionable we have here is item B. I do think we missed something on the agenda now I'm thinking about it, because we don't have the approval of the earmarking of the funds. The 2176. I think that was supposed to be on this agenda also, to earmark that but we can deal with that next week. But yeah,
Right now, so on B, permit 2025-11, the new residential structure, for one thing, even the permit is not legal. It's not done on graph paper with the exact measurements and north and south and all that, so that needs to be done. We have to run. I have the sample one, and I have a napkin drawing, basically.
This one here, that was in our last packet.
That one was in the last.
That one was in the last one.
So what happened is they submitted a big, huge plan, and Lindsay, threw that one out, it was in the last time, I just didn't get it coming in this time.
You have a copy of it.
I didn't get it in the packet, it was in the last packet last week.
This is what he turned in for the information.
That's, yeah, this is,
We do have the original. Where's this? Who's that there?
this is the new building.
I just happened to pull it out of my packet. I knew we were
Oh, this is.
dealing with last week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what we're looking
yeah, this is the.
at. Yeah, that's good, yeah. So at this point in time, then we just need to approve or not approve the residential structure permit for 2025-11.
I'll go ahead and make a motion here.
Make a motion?
Gonna be a little bit of a long one, I guess, but
So
I'll make a motion to approve permit 2025-11 contingent upon receipt of financial guarantee from Ferguson Construction regarding the completion of
Financial guarantee for the garden completion.
the water main extension to service
Lot 11.
lot 11
And-
and the adjacent Whitney Street lots.
Maybe water and sewer.
Yeah, we haven't even discussed the sewer line, is there?
Water and sewer have to be all public
It all
utilities,
has to be put in.
all public utilities to the water line.
We have plans, like we have the water main extension plan, do we have a sewer extension plan?
Yes.
Yeah, it went through DNR review, there's final comments,
When we were talking about this.
and you guys, authorize me to address the final comments.
All water and sewer utilities must be completed.
You're suggesting just a letter of guarantee and not a,
With
Letter from the
with
bank?
services brought to the lot line, boundary, absolutely, no development too.
No.
So there's that, and you should articulate that if it's, the financial responsibility, indicator, can be in the form of an irrevocable letter of credit from a banking institution or a performance bond. I think that's, we're gonna go down that road of saying, okay, if we, we're gonna protect the homeowner. And as well as all of that, the other side of that is that, if the person seeking the building permit was aware that nothing was there, utilities were not there at the time, then it's more buyer beware. So, I think we're going the extra step for the, protect the homeowner by requiring, a bond, so that it assuredly will be done.
are you gonna include
Yeah,
that?
that's kind of why I worded it the way I did, financial guarantee, which
A guarantee would be,
either or
yeah,
bond or
irrevocable.
or an irrevocable letter of credit. That way, because, and part of it is because Chuck isn't actually here to talk on his own behalf and which method he would prefer. So having this contingent, we can approve the building permit contingent as when Chuck's feeling up to it. Hopefully in the very near future, he can look at both options and decide which best fits his.
And I think we should know, regardless who the developer is, we would ask them the same,
Yes.
of the
Yeah,
same,
that's.
to be one or the other. It's not because it's Chuck, we're allowing him to choose, but we would allow any.
No, right, yeah. I think keeping it very
Similar.
generic, that's kind of implied, right?
Yeah, so the building permit will be issued upon demonstration of that being in place.
Mhm.
You okay? You're done?
Can you add one more to your motion, Aaron? Or are you done with it?
What is the motion?
Yeah,
Well, that'd be, also notify the owner that there'll be no owner occupancy certificate issued until that is in place.
There'll be no building permit issued
right, we don't need, yeah.
until either the bond is in place or, yes, and then a certificate of occupancy not issued until it's actually in place.
Yeah, what he said.
So yeah, so this makes it so we can let him understand where he's at, that once this is done, it'll be good, but we don't have to come and have another meeting about this. Once Terry is provided with the financial guarantee, she can give him a call and let him know your building permit is now green light. But this covers it as this meeting, at this meeting, so we don't have to talk about this again.
And the building inspection should be covered by our town engineer. The conflict of interest that Chuck be the seller and the inspector. Is he still our inspector?
No. Well, he does some, but Dennis is taking over a lot of them.
Well, I think it should just be noted.
Yeah.
Conflict declaration.
The issuance of the bond or the irrevocable letter of credit is based on, obviously on how much it would cost to install it by a third party. Now, it sounded like Ferguson's have the pipe already, correct?
We have all the material, yes.
Okay,
It has got a manpower.
so I would suggest that those materials be assigned to the city, to the town of Hermosa, sufficient to complete those lines in the event that we have to pursue somebody else to perform the work to do it.
Okay.
And so if we're hiring somebody just for the labor, and that will significantly reduce the amount of bond you need. So, but I think that's only puts us still in a protected position of we have
Good plan.
unfettered access to that pipe if necessary.
Good plan. Okay. So you would like to, in addition to your motion, add that also?
I think this motion's kind of
Getting
blowing
way
up.
out,
And
yeah, it's-
So maybe we need two motions?
no, I wanna bring it back down. So financial guarantee, trying to keep it generic enough to where we can like that, as far as guaranteeing the material, that can be included in the agreement as of the financial guarantee. We don't need it in this motion. The occupancy that is not going to happen until after the building permit, we don't need it in this motion. I think we're kind of
What is
doing
this
this
motion
motion, so
for?
we need to bring,
Is this not the building permit?
yes.
Yes. That was the
Terry, could you
digging
read
and-
it? Would you mind reading?
Well.
Well, yeah, because I guess I'm confused on what this.
Motion to approve permit 2025-11 contingent upon receipt of financial guarantee regarding completion of all water and sewer main extension to service lot 11 and adjacent Whitney Street lots.
That
And
makes
Prior
it sound
to
like
occupying the property.
that has to be in place before you can get his permit.
Yeah, it has to take place before.
You have to, yeah.
No, the financial guarantee needs to be in place before he can get his permit, not the actual line.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Okay?
And then in that guarantee as a town board, we will want the other items.
Mhm.
Yeah,
In
there'll be two separate documents, actually. One is the assignment of materials. That's one thing, which is ultimately part of the guarantee. But the financial responsibility, bond or letter of credit will be issued based on the cost to get it done. And this town has materials, we need a retail bid. It's at least 115% of retail to get it done. So if labor is gonna be 20,000, accordingly, be 23,000.
Can I get a second?
Oh,
So we'll go into detail here to define. Contingent upon the financial letter of guarantee, which shall include the
Assignment of
following,
materials.
and specifically put it in the motion so that it's, when you go back and look at it, you know exactly what we request.
really, it should be.
So financial and material guarantee.
So this head material.
Financial letter of guarantee, which shall include. Are you willing to add that to your motion? If you are, I'll second it. But I think it needs to be detailed.
Which shall include the assignment of the materials and
Financial.
either the bond or the
Mhm.
letter of credit. Okay.
In the bid,
Third party bid.
third party bid.
And third party bid.
May take some time to get a third party bid, construction company just bid it, but you know, engineering firms are in the business of being able to provide estimated costs, especially engineers estimate.
Party bid for
So
utility.
I would add Anthony or to write an engineer's estimate. That doesn't need to have to be part of the motion.
Right.
So maybe I should just be quiet until we do.
We have to getting really big, so I'll add one part, or completion. If the water line gets done, just call, yes.
Or completion.
After so we're, this
We got
motion's blowing up.
Contingent upon receipt of financial and material guarantee, which shall include the bond and letter of credit and third party bid.
Engineer's estimate.
Yeah, better.
So you
So
don't want
it'd
third
be
party.
the financial guarantee, blah, 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 based on an engineer's estimate for completion.
There you go. Just all over it, this is just one.
Page, just.
I
for
tried.
start.
Right, just-
This is like, okay, so let's start all over.
I'll start all over.
Motion by Eric.
Rewrite it. 2025-11 was contingent. Contingent upon receipt. Financial and material. What do we want?
A financial guarantee, specifically a performance bond or a interlocal letter.
I
of
think
credit.
you have to back up a little bit because you want to explain what's happening. You are making a motion to approve a building permit contingent upon the water and sewer installer provide to the town of Hermosa a letter of financial guarantee
Correct.
that it includes specifically. Does that help a little bit? You're explaining it at the beginning of, you're approving the permit.
That's what it's given.
I know you were trying to make this simple, but sometimes it just doesn't work. And sometimes it's better for it not to work.
So approved permit 2025-11 contingent upon receipts. How did you want that? So
Financial bond, financial
Guarantee
guarantee.
from Ferguson Construction. We'll just put that in there so it's pointed.
okay. Action.
Financial or completion guarantee.
Or project completion.
Yeah. Might as well put that up there and then you're not adding a whole long sentence afterwards.
Contingent upon receipt of financial or project completion guarantee from Ferguson Construction.
A letter of financial guarantee or project completion by Ferguson Construction.
Isn't that what the receipt was?
There's a letter of financial guarantee or project completion.
Sorry,
Yeah, this is.
just keep.
by
So what do you
Ferguson.
want after, so receipt of financial or project completion guarantee from Ferguson Construction.
Letter of financial guarantee by Ferguson Construction. Then you could start a new sentence, I think. This letter shall, the board requests the letter. What do you want in mind? How do you want it ordered? I don't know. The letter, financial, guarantee, the guarantee, letter guarantee.
Just can't do that.
So.
Letter of financial guarantees that include the following and
You can put that down in the description of financial guarantee.
assignment of materials, third party bid
That's what I
on
would
the
do.
cost and
Financial guarantee meaning a letter or a bond.
Letter of credit, right? So. Or bond,
From the bank.
letter of credit from bank.
Yeah. Can't
Or
just be handwritten by Donna.
Or bond. Okay, so financial guarantee means a letter of credit from the bank or.
Yeah, irrevocable letter. of credit.
Irrevocable. No, I knew we were missing a word there.
Big difference.
I know what
A
I'm thinking.
letter of
My
credit
words
from
just
bank
aren't
or
coming
bond.
out.
Okay. Now. That, and then back to. Then we had completion of water, all water and sewer main extension.
Did we already put that in the front when we put completion, guarantee or completion of,
No, that can be moved to the end of the motion to see what that is, because we also need to include that,
Because I just said contingent upon receipt of financial or project completion guarantee from Ferguson Construction. The financial guarantee means a letter of irrevocable credit from the bank or bond. Then we gotta say what this is for.
no owner occupancy certificate will be issued for this permit until this project has been completed.
It is for the residential building permit application for,
Approve permit 2025-11, which and I can put like it's listed on the agenda,
yep.
this one. It's a new residential structural parcel, whatever.
Yep.
So I have that up there. But did you want that, the rest of it, the water main and the sewer and servicing lot 11 and all that we went into?
Well, in the description, it should be. In the,
Well, when I add to this, I'll add this, like, what's on the agenda. This will be all that.
all of that will be
So I
on.
guess that'll give them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we're clear, right? There's mud.
Mhm.
Not really, we're clear. We got it. Okay? Are you seconding it? No, because it doesn't. You want it reread or what?
I'm not sure that it's worded in the best way of our intent, but I think we're trying to get that across.
Yes, I think it will be. Would you like to second that?
I'd like to hear the motion reread first.
Sorry, Christine.
Well, we need to know what it says.
Oh, okay. So we're approving permit 2025-11, new residential structure, parcel 009324, Todd Stainbrook. Contingent upon receipt of financial or project completion guarantee from Ferguson Construction. And the financial guarantee means a letter of irrevocable credit from the bank or bond. Anything else?
I think that's good. I think we can add the,
I think there should be sentences included afterwards because it's very clear that we're approving the permit, but we're not allowing occupancy until this is complete. And then you need to be able to reference that. Not just that we approved and it goes away.
I'm writing out a whole new motion, so we'll see who's
Okay.
done first.
go for it, yeah. You told me 7:00.
Yeah, I can.
And rather than, defining the financial guarantee, it might just be easier to just skip that part and just put a bond, a performance bond or letter of credit from the bank, so you don't have to type it out
Yeah,
twice.
well,
You just combine the two
yeah.
sentences. You'll figure that
That's
out when
how
you're
this motion
typing
was.
it. That doesn't change the intent of it.
The intent is still the same. Yes.
Right.
Okay, you're gonna second
I have a motion. Do I have a second to that motion? Nobody's seconding it, so next, motion fails. I would entertain another motion.
Wait another one.
All right, let's see. Financial guarantee. Owner transfer of ownership. Change guarantee completion of Whitney Street water sewer expansion. All right, I'll make another one. Let's try this.
Thank you.
I move for the approval of permit number 2025-11, contingent upon receipt of financial guarantee in the form of an irrevocable letter of credit or bond with transfer of ownership of necessary supplies and materials to the town, sufficient to guarantee the completion of the Whitney Street water and sewer expansion under permit number 2024-48. I don't know anything else that we could have to put in there.
Do I have a second? What would it take? What would have to be added to get a second on this motion?
I just want the addition of
What specifically, what addition?
the owner occupancy to be noted in there.
So that can never be issued unless the permit's already, that's sequential, right? We issue the permit and then later down the road, the owner occupancy letter gets issued.
Only if it's sufficiently complete.
But they're only checking footings, framing, final, not necessarily.
And by criteria alone, an owner occupancy certificate would not be issued if it has no water or sewer. So it may be a redundancy.
May not be needed,
That's kind of,
but it doesn't hurt to say it either,
Sure.
because it's a unique kind of.
Do we need
Well, I think
to,
that is something that if we're gonna add that, that should be added on our building permit. You know, I mean, it
As a
should just,
footnote?
yeah, as a footnote of the building permit, I think it's stated basically, like Kent said.
We would
Not
hopefully
gonna
have
give
this
them
project completed first before the building permit next time, right?
Yeah.
Except for these lots around.
The few lots that are within the.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, yes,
do we need to add, the basis by which the letter, the irrevocable letter of credit or the performance bond is going to be issued?
Yes, yes, I think that's, it needs to be based upon a engineer's estimate of cost.
Oh, yeah, we had that in there too, didn't we?
I can actually do something, Terry. I can do things.
Ooh, look at that.
130% of an engineer's.
Credit or bond from Ferguson Construction.
130% of.
The engineer's estimate.
As
Okay.
There we go.
Okay,
Engineer estimated cost of completion.
do I now have a second? Would you mind reading that motion again, please?
Hold on,
Not quite
let
there.
me, let me stitch it back together. So it's, there we go. Beautiful. Okay. Approval of permit number 2025-11, contingent upon receipt of financial guarantee in the form of an irrevocable letter of credit or bond from Ferguson Construction for 130% of engineer estimated cost of completion with transfer of ownership of necessary supplies and materials to town sufficient to guarantee completion of Whitney Street water and sewer expansion, which was approved under permit number 2024-4.
Okay. Do I have a second to that motion?
Do we got it covered, Kent?
Yeah, I think that covers it. I do.
All right, I'll second it then.
Contingent upon completion of the extension project. A bunch of blah, blah, blah. Right.
You're hired.
Didn't make point of the motion.
All right, motion was by Aaron and seconded by Cal. Now, does the board have anything else they'd like to say? Does the engineer or the attorney have anything else they'd like to say about this?
No, I think that covers it. A lot of progress to take place and assures that the homeowner will have city utilities.
Other than utilities, have we reviewed the actual plans? We've been so worried about the water and sewer
Yep. The plans,
drainage and all,
yeah.
power, water coming in, meets the setbacks.
And did you review the building permit or did your company?
Yeah, Neil and I reviewed.
And okayed it?
Maybe if you could attach his okay to the original permit, Jerry,
Yeah.
we have it for future.
It's in the packet too.
All right.
But everybody won't have my packet 10 years from now. When they come to look for it.
But that's all included with the
In-
permit, so we
That's all I need.
yeah, we have it with the permit.
So it'll be like, okay. No other questions from the board? Oh, Dan.
Well, thank you. Did we skip over discussion of A then? But I didn't never hear anybody offer any as a discussion. Man, I do have a discussion on B too.
The temporary water line we discussed.
Yeah, but we didn't open it up for discussion. That's what I'm saying.
No, we didn't because it was approved and,
But still, it's a subject of discussion in the public too. Whether it's approved or not.
But I think when we came out of, right when we came out of executive, if I heard correctly, that, in addition to that, in addition to what was going to be discussion from the audience, that, primarily the discussion to take place between board, engineer, and legal. But I don't think it certainly precluded you from having comments, or it wasn't intended to, right?
no, I didn't intend to.
I was wondering why I could say so during those.
And I didn't raise my hand.
He raised it many times, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, I thought it was all on this B. And so I was waiting until the motion was made and seconded. Gary, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I think mostly because we kind of determined that there was no action we needed to take on A, that it wasn't really something we discussed, so I suppose as far as citizen input within items from constituents, it's whatever needs to be said during the time, we just didn't really have an action that we needed to take on that.
We researched it and determined that it had already been previously approved and renewed.
Right, temporary line, but then also the planning as to being under subdivision criteria. I think what happened here tonight so far is that we are achieving, as if the subdivision ordinance is followed, we're achieving the providing of utilities to the lot line of the lots. But in addition to that, we're also developing how to handle other vacant lots in the same situation that have no utilities. Part of that is marking those lots as a matter of title, so public notices on the lots. Or at register of deeds, that these lots do not have utilities. And the other thing was that, and I guess it didn't really dawn on me, that when these particular lots, if I try to put two and two together, is that these particular lots, because they were platted over 50 years ago, that they were platted pursuant to whatever was required at the time, was pretty much nothing. But they still exist as a legal platted lot. So the best we can do is pick the ball from there. We can't unplat them and require them to be platted. However, this is still, I think it's even the same end of protecting the homeowner, getting utilities in, and getting on with it.
Not a good answer, but that's okay.
Can I just add that we also discussed the purpose of a water permit versus an FYI temporary permit? We discussed that, and because it's not going through the subdivision, it's not triggered by that, where all the water and sewer line plans are looked at and drainage in one area, so we're finding a way to require those in lieu of that. And that was one of the FYIs. And we did look back and we do have the digging permit. We have the water and the sewer plans, right? And I'm sure we had drainage on there too. And a digging permit, working in the right of way permit. And we were talking about the water ordinance where we don't have, you get a digging permit and a work in the right of way permit to install a water or sewer line. And you have a permit for a residential tap to tap into the main, but you don't have a permit to install main. There's no form for it. Because it's all involved or included
Do
in.
we have a permit to work in right of way?
Yeah.
Okay, now, which would inherently mean work on public utilities.
I'm just talking about the actual installation of a temporary line that we talked about.
The temporary, yeah.
Um, and it was going to a residential line or from a residential line, not from our main, the temporary line,
We still have this
the
motion.
FYI. So we did discuss it. We didn't pass over it, I guess was my plan.
So
So,
let's,
may I do my rest of my discussion then, please?
for B,
Correct.
yes.
I just want to thank now for the appreciation of the leniency of the engineers to allow this to happen in the form that it has, because in the past, the engineer has been the one that recommended what format should be followed within our ordinances and how it should be laid out for the protection of the building permits as well as for any land being developed, and that the board can ask for them requirements and anything that is brought before them, whether it is a previously 50-year-old again plat or whether it's something new, and granted that it's changed ownership, so that changes the whole realm of everything. And that you appreciate that we're allowed to draw the plans and what we are, on a napkin. And that building permits are allowed to do this way. And with that leniency, that can be handled in that format in the future then.
So there it is, there's a real. It's not on a napkin. Only what I had was on the napkin, and then the town office it has the real one. So,
And I do want to remind that on the building permits, as far as the occupancy, it is there that nobody can occupy until final permits get done.
Then,
Already listed, so.
yeah.
Yes.
And when it comes down to it, there's no new division, there's no division of lots going on, and that's the first two words of the
of the
subdivision.
subdivision,
The division of any tract, there's no ever any division of parcels going on. It's one thing that it would be a sticking point for the town to enforce a full subdivision ordinance. However, we can require, and we have required, that the property utilities be put in as if. The reason we're able to do that is because we're hanging our hat on, hey, no building permit till this is done. That's the last stranglehold we have on apartments to get it done, but sure.
Aaron,
There's a benefit to the way we do this for all parties involved. We have somebody who bought a piece of property and they want to move forward and build on it. This helps take a small step towards them getting that done. But we also did diligently cover the town. So we have somebody who can move forward and do their American dream, and town's covered.
We have all the plans that we would normally need.
It's not ideal, but
And it gets back on the tax roll. I don't think we're missing anything. We're doing everything. My opinion.
you have something?
No, you answered.
We answered the question already.
question already.
Thank you, thank you. All right. All those in favor?
I
I'll abstain.
What is your reason for abstaining?
I just don't want to vote on it.
Aye. And
two abstentions and 3 ayes.
yes, I guess. So, and she has already sold, they have already sold the property. So the building permit, I would say she could vote on. The,
Because the wording is
Because-
contingent upon completion, and she's agreeing to that by voting. Yay.
right.
Yay.
So,
I don't
but
have a problem with it.
an aye or an abstention, whatever is. Eric,
I said aye.
I think were you going to abstain, Donald?
No.
Originally?
I am okaying the permit for the building permit. And I feel I have a right to vote on that because the property does not belong to us anymore.
Ken?
Whether she has a conflict or not?
It's a pretty narrow and high bar to actually have a conflict of interest on the most recent Supreme Court rulings. So I guess I would disagree that, yeah, I don't think it would rise to a conflict of interest.
We're gonna note that, would you please, that, Donna's, EA is with the building permit process. And it, you know, and in a way, it does guarantee she's agreeing with the fact that the Ferguson construction will get this done. So, I mean, it's kind of a good thing too, isn't it? Yeah. Okay,
right.
so motion's carried. Thank you very much. We will move on. That brings us to C, to approve the control panels for the WWTV.
So we had an existing budget for these control panels as a part of our SRF loan / grant. And so it was kind of it was when our bids came in under budget and they were trying to retract funds.
Yeah.
We did have a proposal from one supplier that was over $100,000, which kept a budget for our control panels. So instead of buying one big control panel, because we have one panel that's out by the pump station, and then we're gonna have probably 3 panels in the building because of the different voltages of equipment from what came from Apple Springs. We're having 2 of the 4 total control panels on this pole. So these are the master distribution, so it comes in from Black Hills Energy into the master distribution. So that's the quote for $17,369.23. And then the second panel is goes out from that distribution panel to the pump station, which will then pump from the big retention basin to our treatment plant so we can treat it and send it to the Battle Creek. That control panel cost is $9,900. So we're at less than 28,000, and we've got half of the panels. So I'm hoping that we're coming in.
Saving?
Well, we still got 2 more panels, but I'm hoping that we come in at half what we had budgeted. Doing it this way. Save about 50 grand.
Go ahead.
Didn't we already approve this $17,000 panel a while ago?
And that was for the water tower, the water tank.
Yeah.
Oh, the water tank panel?
Yeah, it's the same supplier. I use them because they're fast and cheap.
All right.
So they just change the wording and leave the price.
I don't hope they do that. I helped them build this, panel, so all that stuff's good for
Aaron.
I'll put the motion on the floor to approve quote for control panels for WWTP.
Okay, motion's been made.
I'll second that.
Motion's been seconded. Maybe it's my pen now. Throwing things away. There we go. Motion made, motion seconded by Donna. Any discussion, any questions from anybody? Any board members or any, Ken? Nothing?
I have nothing.
Okay. Any from the, go ahead.
So I'd just like to clarify the total is 9,900.
Plus the 17. There's 2 quotes.
One's for 17.
359.23, and 9,900.
No, 99.
Oh, okay.
So that would make it 27. 28. 22. Okay, so 28,000 plus. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Motion carried, thank you. that brings us to items from constituents. Anybody like to say anything? Yes, please do. You're here. I would like to hear from you.
Hello, been a while, I miss you guys.
Me too. I haven't even been down to say hello lately.
Weather is not cooperating, so I was going through a little withdrawal, I wanted to come in and say hello. We're moving along, pretty fast with this project, and I just wanted to come in and see if there's any concerns. Any suggestions? I think everything is going pretty well so far, at least from my side. There were some small difficulties. Anthony was very accommodating and so far we're able to work through it. We're still struggling a little bit with lack of dirt. But we're so close to making it happen. I'm pretty confident we can probably figure it out. Literally, it's just that at this point, just the weather.
Sunshine.
We can't, the last rain erased at least 2 or 3 weeks of our work. Because we have to get it dry, compacted and tested. And then apply bentonite, that takes time. And if we get rain again, we'll have to rip it again, condition it, dry it. So it's just, that's the cost. That's hard to observe because literally it's waste. So at this point, that's why we're not out there today. We'll probably try tomorrow. We'll try to condition it and if we get a few nice days, then obviously we'll ask for testing. One thing, like I say, we'll probably have to be a little creative. Anthony allow us to do some minor changes to the project to make it possible to complete it. It doesn't affect quality, it doesn't affect really anything. But it gave us extra dirt to be able to continue. And I think there's probably record of it. I don't know exactly, like I said, where it goes beyond our discussions, but just want to say thank you for being accommodating, and a lot of times he let us make changes on the fly. So yeah, no, thank you for opportunity, and I don't know if there's any questions or any suggestions, anything you guys have for me.
I'm just curious, looking at the weather report, 82 tomorrow, 81 Saturday, and Sunday is 90, all supposedly full sun all day, Can what needs to be done in that time frame? And I know that's weekend, I'm sorry, but I just was.
I'm glad to hear that Chuck is feeling better. I heard that earlier in the discussion. That was actually something I wanted to ask. It's really hard because it's hard to funnel all the water into one spot without going into the wet area and channeling. But you can't get in there because it's too wet. So as much as possible, whenever pumping the water out probably would help, because water slowly finds a way to go to a low spot. I know Chuck is not feeling well. The other Chuck called me yesterday. He had something going on, so he couldn't pump. That's probably something that could help. It's not something you can do all day because there's not enough water. The pump will just suck in dirt. But even going there every 2-3 hours, turning it on for 10-15 minutes, and then let it build up again, that probably would help. If I can ask for that, that's.
Is that what you want? Us to start the pump?
Want is a strong word.
We want the project done though. So we want to help you so that this project can get completed. And so the first thing I'm gonna ask is, do you guys have any time this weekend to be able to help with that?
Yeah.
I got family coming in.
You got family, so you're not available?
I could do
You are available and Lon and I can be available too.
And our guys have helped as well.
Okay.
There were days, where we were actually not on the job, but one of our guys was here and he was actually able to maintain the pump and fuel it up and keep it going. So as much as it benefits everybody, so obviously, as long as we're not being pulled away from what we're doing, we help as well to do that. But like I say, that's the only something that maybe would help. The south side, because we at this point, I don't know if you have been to a job site, we have split the B into two. The north one doesn't look too bad. I think we're gonna try tomorrow to mix it up in condition and, I have a guy here, Daryl, that's my lead man here, years of experience. Magic.
Magic?
Magic, that should be his nickname.
Okay. I got you now, man.
So if there's anything that can be done, he'll figure it out. Like I say, the only risk is that we put in 30, 40, 50 hours into it. And then we're back in square one after next rain.
And it's gonna take days of conditioning this to get it dried out, like 3 days, because it's so wet. And then if it rains again Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
those 3 days that we just spent went right out the window.
Okay. And I see that they have lowered the chances for
Yes,
this.
I've been watching it.
And, on Monday, it's specifically a storm, that's usually at night or evening hours. So hopefully, sir, did we get you taken care of?
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Todd.
Sorry. So hopefully, hopefully that'll all work out in our favor. And nobody wants to not be happy about the rain, but in this case.
Just seeded my lawn, so.
Yeah, we would like to, wait just a little longer.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we'll say.
All of ours been raining too.
Yeah.
It's dry for July and
Yeah.
storms back in August.
So if you would get with Cal, if you need to coordinate who's gonna check the pumps or whatever, you and Cal discuss that, and then Cal can call my husband and we'll get timeframes figured out so that we can get this.
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't need to be continuous, so it will not be a lot of time that will be required. Like literally, I would say once every 2, 3 hours, just to
Yeah.
let it drain. It might be even less.
Yeah.
Because like I say, we can't get into the channel to get that water to drain, to the low point. It's just too soft. Actually, we only tried once, I think, and it didn't go too well. Yeah, we had the equipment.
You're here.
We had the equipment. Went on, pretty much.
It's still down.
So that's, like I say, that's the only thing. I think we're waiting on approval for, some additional work, some drainage. I mean, that could probably give us something to do while, the detention is drying. Because, something that we have to look at, if this, and it has nothing to do with anybody, if this weather is not cooperating, might have to look at some additional work in the meantime. And that would mean demobbing, mobbing, and obviously, if we're so close to completion, it really would be nice just to be able to close the door on this. It's been going so well. So that's the only risk, but that's out of our hands, that's out of your hands. It's just, there's no way to try this. Unfortunately, that water has nowhere to go at this point because we completed the berms. We'll have to bring them up a little bit still, so that's something, I guess, Anthony and I will discuss how we can come up with the dirt. We might have to bring a surveyor to see if he can calculate volumes. And then we'll see what we can borrow from, where we can borrow it from. We've been very creative.
Getting there.
Yeah, don't go on the east side.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll take a while for that to dry. Um, but, but at some point we might even have to look at some import, but, um, like I say, I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Anthony will come to us when he needs something quickly and immediately. He always does, and we try our best to accommodate that with special meetings and whatnot. So there will be a meeting, next Wednesday night. It's Wednesday next week instead of Tuesday because of the election. So Kent, did you and Anthony both hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
Same time, Sue?
Yes, so if there's anything needed by that time, you two can work that out, we'll come to us. That's not waiting too terribly long then.
No, don't expect anything really change till then, so, I mean, like I say, the only thing is they're waiting for is the approval from the state. And once we hear back, hopefully a positive, response without them asking for something again, then if we could get stamp that as soon as possible, that would at least give us something to do in the meantime, because, yeah, now we're kind of spinning wheels a little bit. That's all, and thank you so much again for the opportunity.
Thank you. I really have heard only good about you from everybody, from the people that talk to you, from Anthony.
I'm gonna start.
It will be nice, if we can have other projects that you could work on. That would be great, because we like you and we have found we can trust you.
Thank you.
Also, if we can recommend you to any other jobs, please let us know.
Oh,
about
absolutely.
that.
That's, we are here. That's our, kind of first project that, at this size.
Mhm.
So, obviously, any feedback is really important to me because I want to do well. So if there's anything that I'm not doing well, if I won't know, they'll just keep doing it wrong, right? So.
I'll tell you.
So please, absolutely. We're obviously looking for some other work and actively for future after we complete this project. And there's some optimistic project that I think that we have good chance of getting.
Good.
Are you still doing the Shared Lake Road one? It's a mess.
Yeah, no, we haven't been on it for a few months actually. Yeah, there was a conflict between us and one of the subcontractors, and we pulled out from there. Yeah, so we haven't been out there.
Their signage is really bad,
It's
especially because it's dark.
I really take pride in everything I do. I try not to cut corners. And if somebody expect me to do that, I'm sorry, but I just don't want to be part of it. And I think that's, that needs to be said. Yeah, we pulled up on that project, late last fall. But yeah, there's, Fox Elder is just expanding. Hermosa is expanding. I'm sure there's plenty of opportunities. I'm trying to put my best foot forward. At the end of the day, obviously, we all want to pay bills and maybe have a little bit left over after.
That's right.
So I guess at the end of the day is how desperate someone is and you can't win them all. But I'll definitely try my best. I'd like to be part of building this town. Absolutely. I love it.
Do you want to buy a lot? No opportunity.
I will get a couple more projects before I can do it. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Yes, Anthony.
So I guess we had one item didn't get on the agenda, that last one,
Oh,
so could just roll that into
Next.
Wednesday. Trying to establish a budget for Preston's entrance driveway.
okay.
I don't expect to spend that much money, but I wanted to create that budget out of the money that we're holding.
Okay.
So, but we also need to pay for full engineering, so I need to be able to have enough budget for me to engineer the entire road all the way up the top of the hill, and do water and sewer, and get it all the way to final plat. So I gotta fit that plus that entrance road in that same budget. So I carved out that, which I figured was absolutely enough. And I thought that would be enough for 350 feet. But now I wanna request quotes for 250 feet of entrance road. And that way I know we'll be into the Preston's property or through that shared easement. That's kind of the objective. So that way that's done, it's graded, it's at the elevation, we never have to touch it again. And we can move on, because once they find a plat, they can sell lots. And so then that truncates the amount of money out of pocket for phase one for them.
Madam Chair,
You may, sir. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Yes, you may go also. Speak, yeah, I know. Get out of here. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Okay. You have your hand up?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have-
input.
Oh, trustee.
There's no trustee input section.
I know, I read that.
It's
Well, then I guess I can't share it. Let's go.
Okay. Motion to adjourn at 7:39. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a
Oh,
second.
you'll second that one.
All those in favor?
I
Aye. Thank you, board.
okay.